Ladies and gentlemen, I have Karmann Sloane on the line with me, possibly better known as Sketchy Goat. She is a graphic and visual artist. You've seen works from her for the Smashing Pumpkins, Weird Al Yankovic, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath. She does a lot of regular work with Nancy Wilson. How's your day going, Karmann?
Pretty good, just getting started. I'm kind of a night owl, so I plan my meetings around this time, later afternoon. I'm getting going. It's a good way to start the day.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's there's we don't us night owls we don't get enough credit, I don't think. I think we're looked at as degenerates if we get up before or after 9 a.m.
Yeah, it's funny though with the industry that I'm in and the people I work with, we're secretly all on the same page, I think. Everyone does better after a certain time. 10 is off limits.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. 10 is like 10 my 10 a.m. is most people's like 7 a.m. But
I agree.
having small children makes that a little more difficult, but that just is what it is. That's just my life decisions. So I was in prepping for my interview with you. I was reading the recent piece written about you on Creative Reverberations. And so, for those who haven't seen your work, you kind of really got a break around the time that we met for the Smashing Pumpkins Gish anniversary. I remember that poster you made. I didn't realize that's what initially got a lot of attention. Can you tell me about what that experience was like?
Crazy, completely crazy. That was the very first professional client I'd gotten that wasn't like, oh, can you draw for my friend's band in town or this small thing for some kind of idea I have. That was my first like client and um, which is a funny way to have an intro into this, right? It all
Yes.
started. It kind of started. That was in 21, I want to say, and somewhere around there. And so it was right after lockdown, and I'd been doing a lot of fan art. I'd been drawing every day, just kind of what was inspiring me at that time. That's what got drawn. So a little bit before I had drawn Billy in this really kind of psychedelic, cool way, and they reached out to me and were like, "We need something psychedelic," and I went, "Okay, I could do that, right on." And so through a lot of development, there wasn't actually a ton of back and forth. There was a lot of ideas that were sent in and edited and options given, and they went with the first one I sent in. So that was amazing, and it was so beautiful. One of my favorite things they did was they actually made some coloring pages out of it, um, and
Wow.
so and so I got to see a bunch of like little kids coloring a drawing I did, which made it really special.
That's got to be absolutely surreal. I remember that weekend so well just because I was managing Madame Zuzu's at the time, and a lot of those like festivities were going on over there. The live stream between Billy and Jimmy, and it was a crazy weekend, and it's insane how many people from that year I was over there I'm still like cool with and still talk to. It was actually this is the poster for the
So
custom beer that was being sold. That wasn't right behind me on purpose, but there it is. And
it was a really cool print. I think that that whole event was organized so well. There was so many beautiful like art pieces, and I love the limited edition stuff that they put out. That was really, it's for the fans, and I loved being part of something as a huge fan. That album was very important in my family's life and my life, and it was. I got to feel big, like part of something much bigger than just my drawing.
yeah, it's no, and well, thank you for contributing to that. That was
You're
and
welcome.
most definitely. So, how did you get Nancy Wilson's attention? You're signed to Road Management, which is her company. So, what was it that led to that first interaction?
Yeah, Road Case has been amazing, and it's new and it's fresh. It's absolutely wonderful. Um, Pretty much the same way Instagram. It was again, it was 2020, and she was supposed to do. Her album came out early in spring of 21, so I think I had drawn her once before, and then her album came out, and I was like, "This is amazing! It's Nancy Wilson." So did a fan art. It turns out I found out later she was looking for basically that exact thing. She wanted a soft psychedelia, nothing too crazy, something legible, something that had like a softness to it. And so I tagged her at the right time, and we got to talking. I got to talking to her daughter Julia, who's my manager, one of my closest friends now. Um,
Aw,
yeah, and so we started building a friendship because it's very what I love about Roadcase and everything with Nancy. Everything's very close knit. Everything feels very much like family, and so we started building from there. And she's so collaborative. She loves participating in the development of the idea. If she has a vision or an idea, we can incorporate it. It's really collaborative, and it's just been great since.
that's really cool. I saw you shared on Facebook the same anniversary for Almost Famous article that I did. And so I wanted to follow up with that because Nancy famously was married to Cameron Crowe and she served as a music consultant for that movie. What's your relationship? Has your relationship to that movie been? Because I know it's it was definitely formative for me, and I get the feeling that it probably was for you. So yeah, am I on base?
What gave it away? No, that is my favorite movie ever. I've seen it too many times. It's a comfort movie. It's been there for me in lots of moments in my life, which is weird. I feel like that's kind of a reoccurring theme in my professional life. Things that were very important to me before before getting to do this professionally are not only still important, but even more of a part of my life. Almost Famous is amazing. I think that movie really encapsulates the dedication of loving music and loving a band. I mean, what I love about it is it paints this picture of women loving bands in a way that hadn't been shown before, unless you read a lot of books by like Pamela DeBar, the book about Miss Mercy, all these wonderful rock. I feel like they're rock historians too. You know what I mean? And this movie poetically paints this beautiful, crazy, problematic image that's just wonderful. And I say problematic just because it's chaotic. It's a chaotic life. And it's chaotically
Yeah.
crazy, and it touches me every time I see it. And I also remember as a kid wanting to be a writer, so I wanted to be Will too. Write about bands that I liked, and I'm still like sometimes I feel like the youngest, way too young to be in the rooms that I'm in, and I feel so green half the time, but it's amazing the whole life that comes with it, and it's just celebratory. It's everything wonderful.
I love that. Yeah, that it's the way I love the part. I'm starting that statement over. Um, I love how that movie portrays the band-aids and that initial scene where it's like kind of describing the differences between band-aids and like groupies in air quotes.
Yeah,
And I like how that's established early on. Then you see what they go through, what William Miller goes through. Uh, Stillwater's probably my favorite fictional band of all time. No disrespect to Spinal Tap.
there. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's no Stonehenge, but we'll look past it. I love Stillwater. I love the story behind it too, knowing that Cameron was out with the Doobie Brothers, and then what he did with the Eagles for so long. It's you see traces of it. I love how pretty everything looks. You know what I mean? Like the look is captured. But the music behind Stillwater, I might be a little biased, but it seriously just rocks.
Oh, Fever Dog is like that. That song is like outside of a cinematic universe. That song's amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those you're like, this is real, right? This was a thing at like Isle of Wight at some point, like '77, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm in about a month I'm actually covering Chronic Con, which is Kevin Smith's convention that happens out here in Chicago, and Jason Lee is going to be there. And if I get a chance to interview him, I'm gonna have more almost famous questions than like Mallrats or My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, that's
It's like
great too.
yeah, like hold on, everyone's asking about a Mallrats sequel. I want to know if you actually sung Fever Dog. I could Google it, but I want you to tell me.
For sure. I love Kevin Smith too. I'm
Oh,
actually
Kevin
seeing
Smith's the shit.
I'm actually seeing him next week. He's doing a film festival thing in town, and my mind is blown already.
Oh, that's so cool. Is it like one of the screenings for Dogma that he's been doing?
No, it's actually an evening with, so it's just him talking, people asking questions. I'm really looking forward to it. He's a visionary when it comes to movies.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've said this on this podcast before that like I went to Columbia out here as a film major, and when you're especially wanting to get into directing around the mid 2000s, you either wanted to be Tarantino or you wanted to be Kevin Smith, and I was the latter.
You
Like
can't afford
so
to be
fucking
Tarantino.
formative.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you can't afford to be. We can't afford to be Tarantino, right? Big budgets
No.
and the props and the blood, the money, allocating enough money for blood properly is just it's hard on its own.
Yeah, I'm also way uncomfortable around both feet and the N word, so like I'm just there's a lot of reasons I couldn't really emulate that.
Agreed. Completely agree.
So you have this really distinct psychedelic aesthetic to your work, and it feels refined to a point where you have to assume it took a lot of like time and trial and error to get to where it initially was. Were there any other styles or mediums that you were playing with beforehand that led to it, or was it like a natural thing that happened?
Great question, actually. Yeah, I've been drawing since forever. My main medium, especially in like school, was pen and ink. So that was what I thought I was going to do. I'm actually not that great a painter, although I'm trying. I'm in the process of painting a leather jacket for my brother. Actually, that's taken me months, and it's because I need it to be perfect, and I'm so crazy about it. Whereas with these other things, it's become more of a familiar process. So like the psychedelic thing is it's constantly changing. I think it's just got a lot better. There
There they are.
they are. Look at them. Oh my goodness.
Every goddamn time. And the fucked up thing is I have studio space now. It's just an hour away from my apartment, and I'm going to work after this.
No, this is much better. No, this makes me happy. I love the flowers too.
Oh, she's ridiculous. Lulu, you're lucky. You're lucky you're as cute as you are because you don't have much else going for you.
She's wonderful. She knows.
But
Um,
I'm sorry. Go on.
but on the art thing, it's still changing, and I think I put a lot into making it look. I try and make things look better, more detailed. I'm constantly looking at other poster artists as references at merch, as what's going on, just to see okay how much more can I put in. What can I do differently that people are responding to? All while kind of in keeping it to something that I can stand by, if that makes sense. I like to look at something and go, "That's put together well," and I'm proud of this. I love how it came out, and it looks how I think it feels. If that makes any sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and art in general is just like a reflection of what people are experiencing and are interested in and going through at the time. And it's like the natural evolution. Like the worst thing you can do is just like do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and that's my fear, especially with like I love doing black light posters. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I don't want it to look like, oh, every single black light looks this. It's the blue and the green, and that's exactly the same. Um, Stylistically is one thing, but I don't want to get too repetitive.
No, I really loved your tour posters for Weird Al Yankovic. I thought those were so fucking cool.
Thank you. I can't believe it spiraled into so many. It's a complete honor. I mean, that's it. That's the guy, right? And if I could have never have guessed that most of my year has actually been spent working with him and his team. It's mind blowing and very. I'm pretty proud of that.
Did you get any feedback from him, or did you get like a chance to speak to him directly?
Unfortunately, not him, but his team was um, really specific. Actually, they knew what they wanted. At one point, we were talking about the size, like on the MSG poster, we were talking about the sizing of the taxi in his hand. So there were like three versions where they were three different sizes, and I kind of it was interesting because it taught me a lot about specificity and why it matters and really iconic places like Red Rocks and MSG. So it was a learning experience for me too.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a wonderful takeaway. Um, What is your most memorable piece of feedback you've received from an artist or somebody's team that has maybe like influenced your work going forward? Was there like a tip that like you took with you that means the most?
Um, that's it's a really good because everyone's very supportive and very much like, wow, keep doing this kind of thing. Um, oh, geez, nothing's quite coming to mind, but
Okay.
I do have one kind of thing. When I was about 13, I think I was 13, I got to meet Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and he was my favorite thing on earth. You know, he's absolutely wonderful, and just a wonderful person. And I had drawn this little cartoon pilot thing for him that I thought was cute at the time. And in retrospect, it was like it's a kid cartoon.
Yeah.
And he came out of catering and I gave it to him and he just starts smiling and he's like, "This is the best thing ever. Thank you." And
Aw.
I heard that he put it in his flight case and he actually like, no, he like, he really liked people were like, "Oh no, he actually likes it." And as a kid, it was one of those, oh, you can do this. Even if it's, no matter what you think it looks like, this kind of matters and you should keep doing this. It was like the first time I went, I want to do art and I didn't know I could do it for musicians, but I wanted it to be in that hemisphere.
Definitely. Yeah. It's that moment when you realize this is like an available life.
Yeah.
Like that this is something like you can just do as an adult and not just as a hobby. You know, we've spoken privately, like you've told me, just about the grind that being a full time artist is, and that
Yeah.
there's this whole like fantasy of people like just creating for a living, and that and not really realizing the just the work and the hours and the consistency and the dedication that's put into it. Do you have any tips for people trying to start off doing it full time? Like, is there anything you've learned in the process?
Yeah, the biggest thing is definitely to just keep drawing. You wouldn't think it's that simple, but seriously, doing at least something every day. Tom Morello coined the term, the phrase, "Put 10,000 hours into what you love," and he's absolutely right. I mean, even if no one sees it, you're getting better, and you do start moving towards something, whether it's a concept, whether it's ideas, whether you're just trying to better a stick figure. It makes a huge difference in this journey. And draw what you love. That's something that I've learned for me is the more I put into what I love and what makes me happy, the more chances I have of actually doing something with it or making my name with the concept, if that makes sense. So draw what you love and do it often.
I love it. I love it. Do you have you ever experienced any kind of like artist block or just anything holding you back? Like what was do you have this is a total asking for a friend situation. Like do you have any advice for people who mainly like are unsure of what to do next?
Yeah, often, all the time, especially after like a project that was a lot in a very short amount of time. So take the Weird Al thing, for example. All of those posters were done in a very short time span. And when you're doing that, it's like, okay, got to get this done, got to do this as kind of as quickly as possible when it comes to merchandise. And that's something I think I'm really good at. I feel like I'm comfortable doing things under pressure, but it's once it's done, you're like, oh, deep breath. What do I do now? You feel kind of lost and kind of like, just all this creative expenditure is just out there. It's done. And something I like to do is because I have to keep doing it. Otherwise, I'll just go with like, I think my worst creative block was a week long of not doing something. And that was bad. It gets, kind of depressive and it's a bummer of a situation. And at the time when I went a week without drawing, I saw a Tool concert. Um, uh, and that fixed it. It was the most. I loved it because there was no phones, and I got to see my friends and meet everybody, and it was one of those experiences that shocked me back into drawing. I saw things that inspired me that that touch you emotionally, and with the between the sounds and everything going on, it brought it back. The After the Weird Al thing, I didn't go to a concert, but I started. watching more movies. I started reading a lot of books at once. I was reading. I started reading a lot of like chef books and just trying to do other creative outlets, and that brought the spark back. So just kind of shift your creativity if you can.
That's awesome. Well, shit. I'm seeing Garbage a week from Monday. We'll see how that goes.
There you go. Look at things a little differently. That helps too. Like if you're at a show, look at if you don't look at the gear, look at the gear. Look at Shirley Manson and how she's moving. What does that? What make you feel? Does it make you feel anything? Look at the crowd. Looking at trying to look at things in a different perspective. If you're looking for new kinds of creativity, makes a difference. I think.
I love that. Well, thank you for that. For
I'm
the
very
thinly veiled asking for personal advice.
That's
uh,
it's something that is hard not to go through, right? Like you kind of spend yourself, and something like that is the perfect kind of way to jolt back into it, and a very cool concert to go to. I hope you have fun.
oh yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna go to a concert together one day. Like
Sure,
we'll be in the same town. We'll make it happen. Like there's shenanigans to be had. I feel like.
most definitely, absolutely.
Let's talk about your relationship to Ozzy Osbourne's work and Black Sabbath's work because we recently lost Ozzy Osbourne, who is one of those people I feel like we always just assumed would be around. And
Yeah.
you know, you did some work for like making some Black Sabbath gear, and that legendary final concert happened, and he unfortunately passed barely a couple weeks later. What has his work and their work meant to you coming up? And what was working making those designs like at the very end?
Um, it's get emotional. It's so funny. I still cry a little bit. That's I
Hey,
mean
you're safe here.
it's like the safe space, right? This is, it's the pinnacle of music. It's the pinnacle of rock and roll. There is it is I am of the opinion, and I know some other women who are of the opinion as well, that you don't fall in love with a person like you fall in love with Black Sabbath the first time. That's my thing. That band is so important to me in my life as it is to so many other people, right?
Yeah.
Um, I spent a lot of a lot of time learning Geezer Butler bass lines, before school. That was everything. There's nothing cooler than Sabbath, and then especially Ozzy. I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said, right? And just such a presence. Like you said, it's one of those things that you don't. There's no world without Ozzy. It's hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really heavy and really emotional, but really a wonderful feeling. It's exhilarating to be a fan of something that monumental and important. And so when the event got announced, it was like, oh, this is cool, and Alice was going to be there, which is the best, right? And so I get a call, and they're there, like, hey, can we do these drum heads? And I went, yep, absolutely. You're playing like how many days? Okay, cool. Yeah, we can get them done in a very short amount of time. Excuse me. And so the pressure was on, but it's funny because I had drawn Ozzy at the beginning of the year just for fun, and so it was the perfect kind of reference point for Sean and I to start working on something new. And so in about 3 days, I came up with all the drawings that you can see on my Instagram. So several versions of Ozzy, different colors. We kind of workshopped from there. Me, him, and Ian, my friend, and his drum tech. We came together and we made something really beautiful. And it couldn't have been done without the teamwork. Um, they're my favorite people to work with for sure. And I love the finished product. The colors are pretty. I wanted it to. It was supposed to be an ode to Black Sabbath and Ozzy because Ozzy was such a huge part of, you know, elevating Alice and bringing them in so
Yeah.
many different ways. So it was trying to find the best way to blend the two.
Yeah, no, you really did a hell of a job with all that, those gear designs. And I remember the drawings you made at the beginning of the year. I got one in poster form, so thank you again for that.
Oh no, my pleasure.
Um, I
Um,
think part of what hit so hard about his death, and maybe this is just a personal thing, and I think it's like it's an aspect that's easier to take for granted now, especially for people younger than like people in our age group. Is like aside from the impact, the obvious impact of like Ozzy and Black Sabbath in the musical space, the Osbournes was, as the reality show The Osbournes on MTV was such a cultural phenomenon back
Yeah.
then, and it was like the it's easy to take for granted now because most reality shows are like celebrities letting you in to their home life and being around their family, but they were like that was kind of the first one to really let that happen. And even if you were, Sabbath's prime was a little bit before your time, now you got led into this other version of him and him like fucking around with the remote and yelling about dog poop. And
Ocean. You can't forget the ocean.
oh, yeah.
What's funny about that is lately I've been watching the Osbournes, and I get to pretend like it's on now and it's kind of happening now, and it's really it's fun and happy, and it's so light. And what's cool about it is it was a reality show that was edgy. You know, it was like
Yeah.
it was for the it wasn't just for the rocker kids, but you felt like, oh, I'm on TV. There's like a reflection of, Jack's got Tool stickers up and down his door, and there are bands that I know that are on this. This is really cool. I know the music that they're playing, that's just kind of filler in between scenes. It was one for the rockers, you know.
Oh, 100%. And it brought people in, and it brought people into a space where, like, if they weren't familiar with it, it was more accessible to get into. Like
Yeah,
I've said before, like the Osbournes is was the show was very like formative in a lot of my music taste. It was between that and Daria, like late '90s, early 2000s MTV,
yeah, definitely.
and it's a thing that's like easy to overlook now because like algorithms and shit. But
Well,
yeah,
it's funny because for me it was a bunch of Headbangers Ball reruns and 120 minutes, and then from there, I mean, I'm still that's another thing I do for creative block or just in general. I'll just watch like old midnight specials or Soul Train or Studio 54, just things that emulate a time and music and a way of life.
yeah. What's your take on this current revitalization of like physical media and analog processing? And I feel like a lot of people who weren't even necessarily around for that thing in its prime are kind of yearning for something a little more personal.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love all my pieces of vinyl. It's funny. There's a Joe Walsh song called "Analog Man," and it's like, "Why are you the way that you are? How'd you get here?" I don't know. I guess I'm just an analog man, and I really feel that. I love all my records. I like the pause that you have to take care of things like that. You actually have to focus on it. You have to. There's upkeep. There's storage. There's afterthought. There's especially with the stereo, you can get really into. I have a friend of mine who loves to build stereos, and I love talking about like that and really getting into the mechanics of that. I love tour. I've always loved like tour programs. We actually have to read about the band and what they look like. Liner notes. I bring disposable camera. I annoy everybody with my disposable cameras out on the road. Even though like only half of the film develops, I have photo albums. I'm kind of a nut about that stuff because it forces you to pause. It's I mean financially it's not great, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
yeah it's a yeah, but to me it's worth it because it's something to also kind of come down off of and focus on. You dedicate your time to it, it becomes a hobby. And for me, my only other hobby besides drawing is drawing, and anything outside of that's a bonus.
That's great. Yeah, no, taking the time to pause is definitely something that's important, and it makes you appreciate, even if you're still like a fan of digital work, which I don't see a reason for there not to be, but like
Well, it's
you
convenient.
appreciate the craft a little bit more.
Yeah, and the whole digital thing, it is convenient because at the end of the day, all of this, while I like it and it is a hobby, it's a pain. It's a pain, right? It's not something that you can just do while you're out. So I like having both. I think it's wonderful to have the option.
Yeah, I used to be like really I used to be really like up on a soapbox about how much I hated Instagram and the filters because up to that point I had like learned how to print in a dark room and process my own film. And now it's like, oh no, now this like app is just kind of taking all that work away where it's not necessarily the case. Like you can appreciate both things. And the second thing wouldn't exist without the first thing to emulate.
And it's cool to tell people you can actually do it physically too. That's a skill.
Carmen, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here. It's an absolute honor to actually speak with you. I've always appreciated like just shooting the shit with you at like all fucking hours, and I'm glad we got to know each other online. And it's been it's been great communicating with you the last 4 years, and seeing your work and your come up has personally been inspiring for me. And so like thank you for that and for being so kind this whole time.
Oh no, likewise. We need to do this more often. And also thank you for letting me confess my intense, fan obsession with Limp Bizkit. That's I mean, that's intimate. You know what I mean? You
Oh
can't
yeah.
just tell the whole world that you love Limp Bizkit this much, like I just did right now. So
Oh yeah,
I
no, let's
appreciate.
actually let's touch on that before we go. No, I it's probably a little less controversial now because I feel like Fred Durst is way more self-aware at this point in time than he was like 20 years ago.
Isn't everybody though? That's now we get to. That's the thing about rock and roll. We get to see all of these bands and these musicians as adults. Half of them are sober, half of them have families now, and they're all kind of like, "Ooh, I don't remember half of that time, but okay."
Yeah.
We get retrospect.
Yeah. No, wrapping my head around the fact that like Eminem is a grandfather is still crazy to me.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's
Strange
really
the
nuts.
passage of time. But yeah, even like the chocolate starfish era of Limp Bizkit, you could tell like Fred took himself real seriously. And around this point he realizes what he is, what he isn't. That song he put out the other day is just so like hilariously awful, and you can tell that he knows that it is. It's just it's you can tell he's sitting there like, how have I maintained this career? I don't know, but I'll ride it out for as long as I can.
Well, it's funny you talk about media consumption, and you look at that era, the 2000, the really late '90s, the turn of the millennium, and everything. Um, the just the way bands were portrayed as everybody is bigger and more bombastic. It's very much like I think it's exactly the same as when you first got like Poison and stuff. And at a certain point, you weren't even listening to the music because half of Poison isn't actually that bad. Uh, but it became silly because it was because of everything that record companies were putting in, the way people were making money off of them changed, the way they distributed them was different. So it became a joke, you know what I mean? Even though these bands were working really hard, but they were like, if they didn't take it seriously, then they're going to be gone. And now it's like they can relax, they can be comfortable, they can afford to put out music and just be like, this is a kind of a joke song, but it's actually really good.
Yeah,
And just kind of just write that as much as they want to, and I love that because that's honesty, and I love that kind of honesty in music.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Carmen, thank you again. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
No, aside from I Roadcase Management rocks. If you're not already following them, it's at Roadcase Management on everything, and it's a wonderful group that I feel very lucky to be a part of. It's a wonderful family, and I love getting to do things like this and work with the people that I do. So thank you for your time, Dan.